Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday night, The Fundamentals to Gain Inner Peace, with your host, Coach Menachem Bernfeld. And I'm very excited. If it's the first time you're here, let me know in the chat. But many of you are here for a while and are on the journey already, on the healing journey. And tonight at the end, we're going to do a simple and powerful technique. Another breathing technique. We've done other breathings. This is another one, the VU sound, which is simple and powerful. So we discussed last week the childhood emotional neglect and why it's different than a regular trauma. You know, when somebody, for example, went through a car accident. So it's something that they're aware of. And it's easier to work on because you can always go back to that time that it happened. Or if something else happened to somebody, if it's something, it's very clear. Sometimes even growing up in a house, could be divorced and growing with a single parent. So it's not so hard. Not so hard to realize, why do I feel this way? But when talking about childhood emotional neglect, many times, a lot of people, they say, I had a beautiful upbringing. And it's true from the outside. It's something that you're not aware when you're younger. It's something that could be your parents weren't aware of. That emotional piece that's missing. So that itself is a trauma. So we call it CEN, childhood emotional neglect. And slowly, when you're a child, when you're young and you don't know how to process, you don't know what's going on, you believe this is how things work. You might tell yourself certain messages that either I'm not important, or let me just be quiet. Let me not complain too much because who knows what's going to happen. And it could be sometimes subtly the parents say it, you know, this is what we do. And sorry, I know you don't like it. It's too bad. So that could be a little bit better because they're at least discussing it a little bit, but sometimes they don't discuss it. It's something that this is how it happens. It's interesting that it could be even nothing, you know, people are going to say, you know, you're going to call everything trauma. You know, everybody went through trauma. It could be, let's say you're the oldest in the family. So your parents expect you to do more. Let's say you're the youngest in the family. So they don't look at you that much. There's so much going on by the Shabbos Suda. There's so much going on in the Yom Tov or any Simcha. But when you say something, you're the youngest, so nobody listens. So that's a good example. Nobody's listening to you. Now, is that trauma? Is something happening to you? Nothing is really happening. But when you try to voice your opinion and nobody's listening, you have that feeling and you're not sure what to tell yourself. You might be too young to realize that, you know, they're all caught up in their own things. That doesn't mean that you're something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. But subconsciously, you might tell yourself, I guess I'm better off being quiet. And then they try again. They might try again the next time. And again, nobody's listening. And they tell themselves again. And after a while, they're not voicing their opinion anymore. They might sit there, listen, smile. And it looks like, wow, such a tzaddik, such a tzaddikas. They're just part of it, and they're always good, whatever happens. They always agree, and then they please others. So just become aware of how things work. When you were younger, nothing major has to happen. It's just that the older kids in the family are not looking at you. And then you tell yourself something about yourself, which is not true. And many years later, here we are. This is how we feel. So some people don't like the word trauma. We don't have to call it trauma. Becoming aware of where am I coming from? Why do I feel this way? And once we become aware, we can slowly take the steps to heal. So that was what we discussed last week a little bit. And before we continue, let's check in. Let's come into the room. I'm sure you're all here already. But first of all, just for showing up tonight, just for coming, just for taking some time off, giving yourself permission to stop doing what you're doing and taking a break. And stop doing and start being. Sorry, if you can mute yourself, please. Thank you very much. It's the time that you can just be. We're all busy with many things, and we're running, and we have a routine, and many, most of the time we're in fight and flight mode. Things have to get done. You can't just take a break. And if you can allow yourself to just take some time to sit and relax, that itself is healing. You give yourself permission. There are many people that would say, why? Why am I doing this? So here we are. I look at this half hour, just a time to take off and take a deep breath, to become aware of what's going on, become aware of your surroundings, become aware of where you're coming from. What did your day look like? And just let your shoulders fall. Let yourself relax. Could be a lot going on. So we mentioned different types of traumas. Let's say you're the middle of the family. Could be another reason nobody looks at you. The oldest is the oldest. The youngest could be they get attention because they're the youngest. But the middle of the family could be you don't get the attention that you need. If somebody has a child, a sibling that's not well, and the parents are in the hospital, in and out, there's a lot going on. There's another reason why you weren't able to get what you needed. So nobody's fault. We're not blaming anybody. It's just becoming aware of that neglect. And what people share is now, as an adult, they share certain feelings, certain feeling of loneliness. That means even if they're in between friends, they have social life, there's a deep feeling of loneliness. They can't pinpoint what it is. Worthless.
100%.
Sometimes they feel they don't have a voice. They can't voice their opinion. Not important. And again, it's a deep, deep feeling that not everybody is aware of it, but you're not sure what you're feeling. So it's important to become aware of this and to spend some time to reflect. Again, a lot of people don't want to dig. Why should I go back and try to figure out what happened to me when I was younger? What happened. Why should I think about it? Because it has an effect. So you don't have to dig. But like I mentioned, if you have no memories, that's a sign that you might want to speak to somebody. Maybe they can help you, sit with you to go back a little bit and see why don't you have any positive memories. Sometimes our brain shuts us down totally, and we're just, whatever happened. I don't want to think about it. And it could be, too hard to think about what's going on. But that could be a sign of, there's something when I was younger. So yes, it could be hard sometimes, and we get triggered. We're not always aware of the triggering of what triggers us. So basically, the healing for this is called somatic healing. Now, somatic means the body. Like I mentioned many times, there's the logic and there's the emotions. Logically, we could all be smart. We know what's right and wrong. And we could even discuss it. We can even talk about it. But the problem is when there's a trigger, You're not always aware, but your body feels it. And let's say you're nervous about something. We all know already, if somebody's nervous, the worst thing you can tell them is just don't be nervous. It doesn't work. They know logically not to be nervous. They have an interview. They know exactly what they're looking for. They're ready. Why are they nervous? So logically, you might tell yourself, there's no reason to be nervous, but I am nervous. So there's something inside of your body. So it's the body that tells the score. Forget about the logic. Yes, logic, you know what's the right thing to do. And you look at your kids, kids throwing a tantrum, you think to yourself, what's the big deal? It's a small thing. But it's not the logic. It's something deeper, a feeling. And that's something that we need to heal. So the question last week, somebody mentioned, I want to be better. I want to be there for my child. What's the first thing I can do? So we discussed that one thing of just being. If you can be in the room where your child is without your cell phone, and don't be busy with anything, just sit there, sit on the couch and relax. Just for a few minutes. How often are you there in the room? Whoever is there, it's a spouse, a child, or a student, whatever the story is, how often are we there? If we're busy on our phones, busy doing some work, so you're not there. See how long you can do that. For beginners, it can be hard. Then somebody mentioned, sometimes I give them too much. I mentioned for teenagers, it might be hard. If you haven't done it for the past 15 years, and now you go to your 15-year-old and you sit there in front of them without your phone and you're just waiting, okay, now open up, let's go. Not going to work. For them, you might have to pretend you're not there. Many times with teenagers, don't put the spotlight on them, because if you look at them, they shut down. But when you're busy peeling potatoes, busy doing other things in the room, and then they talk, they mention something, just be quiet, just listen. And you can say, what do you mean? So that shows that you're there, shows that you're listening, but you're not stopping and looking at them in the eyes, because then they're going to run. So you have to be a little bit smart. Sometimes being in the room is the idea. Sometimes pretending you're not there is the idea. So this is how we come back. But again, it's body work. It's not logic, it's emotions. And coming back, taking a deep breath, finding time to relax for yourself, just being. That's how we slowly come back home, come back to yourself, become in touch with yourself, that you're okay. And this is really the beginning of healing. What helps for somatic healing? Awareness is number one. Just to become aware that you're running all over the place, you're always stressed out, you're not happy, there's something missing. That awareness is step number one. If you don't have that awareness, many people are like, I'm fine. But deep down, something is missing. So the awareness is number one. And then you can start taking some small steps, taking a walk. Many of the things we discussed over here on this program in the past are things that you can heal. Affirmations, positive affirmations, just changing the way you think about yourself. Self-acceptance. Telling yourself you're okay. You don't need to be perfect. Perfectionism is another thing that could come from the adult in the room when you grew up. You don't need to be perfect, because no one is perfect. You want to grow, you want to try new things, you want to fail. It's a good thing to teach your child how to fail. Well, fail? Why would I want my child to fail? Because that's the only way we live. The only way we can grow is if we're ready to fail. There's no perfect. No one is perfect. So these are just small ideas. But what they say is that sometimes talk is not the answer, because talk is logic. And even over here on this program, sometimes I get to stop and say, okay, enough information. Now take a deep breath. Good. And another one. No rush, just for a few minutes. Give yourself permission to relax, to be. You don't need to do anything anymore. You're just good. And yes, I am talking a little bit, but it's a lot to become aware. Take a deep breath and relax. If you see in your mind, if you hear that voice saying, okay, Lou, continue. So that's an awareness. Just become aware of that. If you're like, okay, I gotta go, I'm too busy. That's an awareness. Become aware of those thoughts. And slowly tell yourself, I'm okay. I can stay here another few minutes and relax. You can do that in the middle of the day on the couch. Find some time. Just sit down, take a deep breath, just relax. If it's the first time you're doing it, you'll just realize how your mind is racing. So eventually you'll want to slow down the mind. But that's the somatic work. Our body needs to come back home, be okay with who we are. Okay, so before we go to the VU sound exercise, the sound, the breathing exercise, if you're ready. So like we mentioned, many ways to heal from the emotional neglect, a lot of somatic work, whether it's awareness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, inner child work, a lot of what we discussed, to become in touch with that voice, that inner child inside, meet it again, see what it looks like. It might be angry, and it might be waiting for you for a while. Just become aware of that inner child. And I do have a course, Self-Awareness for Beginners. I could put it into the chat for those who are interested. And I'll post it. There you go. I'll post it in the description for those that are listening to the recording. But it helps you start. Just start the journey. And many of you here are on the journey already just by being here, listening to these ideas. It helps you slowly become aware of what's going on, how you feel. And again, it's not always easy for everyone. If you've gone through real trauma, then for sure you might need somebody, it might be a therapist or somebody who understands it, to be there so you can discuss it. They can ask the right questions so that they don't suppress those emotions that come up. They let it come up. They don't get scared. They don't get triggered. And this we as parents need when our child shares. See, they're just starting the journey, and we are the adult in the room. We want to do it the right way. So we have to make sure we don't get triggered ourselves. Okay, so let's start with the VU sound. So basically what it is taking in a deep breath, and on the way out, you say VU. And it helps to settle things, you know, when you're nervous. It helps to settle, calm down. But it could bring up some feelings, some emotions, sensations in the body, which is okay. And, you know, just become aware, just become attuned to those feelings, which is okay. It brings up whatever it is. And because it does make some sounds, you might want to be in a place where you're by yourself, or maybe taking a walk outside. But it doesn't have to be very loud. You can keep it pretty low. So let's get started. Put your feet on the ground, make yourself comfortable. And just take a deep breath. The way you would take a regular deep breath, just relax in and out. Let your shoulders fall. Now let's take an easy, you don't have to overwork. Don't try to do anything different. Just take a deep breath in, all the way into your stomach, into your chest. And on the way out, you say VU. VU. That's it. You feel the vibration in your body. You feel the vibration from your stomach. And that's the important piece, the vibration. So let's do it again. Take a deep breath into your stomach, into your chest. It could sound funny the first time you're doing it. Become aware of where you feel the vibration. It could be in your head, in your stomach. Wherever you feel it, let it be. Another deep breath into your stomach, into your chest. Good, just become aware. Let's do it 2 more times. Take a deep breath. One more time. Deep breath in. Become aware of how you feel. Tingling sensations. Whatever emotions, whatever comes up. And come back into the room. Here we are. Simple and powerful. I happened to start feeling some vibration in my head, and then after 3 or 4 times I felt it in my feet. Now what's interesting about somatic work is that many times you think, this could really make a difference? It's too simple. It's too simple. So you do it once and twice, and then you leave it in the logic. You once learned of a good technique that if you do it, it helps. But you just don't do it. So do yourself a favor, whichever technique you like, do it. And after a while, you will see changes after a while, but it has to be done. So whether it's this technique or a different technique that you learned, deep breathing, I share many times, even in deep breathing, you can see the effects right away. You can be overwhelmed, nervous, and you can sit down and take 5 deep breaths and you will feel a difference. Many times when I do the meditation or the guided meditation, affirmations, people tell me they fall asleep. And that means it works. Obviously, after a while, I would like that you stay up so you can hear what's going on. But just to realize we're overworked, overtired, and when we do take some time off, we just fall asleep. So to give ourselves that time to relax, not to be overstressed, it's okay to take some time off. And believe it or not, it's healing. You'll be more productive in the long run. So if you want to do more work and you're very busy, take some time off. And they say sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is to take some time off, because eventually you'll be more productive. So that's it for tonight. Do yourself a favor. Do it at least once a day. Maybe when you're taking a walk. It doesn't have to be so loud. Yeah, it does make a little bit of noise, but it's the vibration that you feel on the way out. And share your experience, whatever feeling comes up. Don't wait to see results now, today. It's not a button that we can press. It's the work that we do. And slowly but surely, you feel better with who you are, you feel better energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, and you'll thank yourself for it. That's it for tonight. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. You can come on live. You can raise your hands, whatever works. You can let me know how you felt in the feedback. Let me know how you felt when you did this exercise. Let me know if you got the link in the chat. Let's see if you got it. No, you didn't get it yet. Just a second. Let me share the link. Here we go. So this is for someone who wants to start the journey. The basic ideas of understanding why we're running and to become self-aware. That's step number one. Self-awareness for beginners. Become aware of what's going on, who you are, how you're feeling. And that's what we're looking for. The power to show up, the power to be, so that we can be here for ourselves, for the people around us, for our kids, and to grow from a healthy place. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you. Okay, we got one feedback that'll put you to sleep. I love that. That means it works. So it is like a button, because if it puts you to sleep, that shows me how tired you are. You don't give yourself time to relax, to rest, to just take it easy. That means you're on overdrive. Now, there's only so much that you can do when you're on overdrive. So much more when you can just relax and take it easy. And remember, it's healing. Whatever we need to heal, you don't have to be aware of everything. You don't have to know exactly what did my parents do, what did the adults do, how do I feel? You don't have to know everything. Just to see yourself running, that itself. What am I running from? Where am I running to? Why am I not happy with where I am, who I am now? That's it. Smile. Here I am, and I love myself the way I am now. I'll say that again, and you become aware of what's going on in your voice. So really say, I love myself the way I am now. Right here in this moment, I love where I am. That's it. Just feel it. Thank you very much for the feedback. Thank you very much for showing up for yourself. Thank yourself for showing up. Take some time, do the exercise, take some time off from this busy world. You deserve to take some time off and enjoy the moments. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday. Thank you.